Hi, welcome back. I'm Julie Riesler, and you are here with me for the ROI of Investing in You Masterclass. And I really hope that you got something from the first module, and hoping that that's starting to become a habit now. We're going to build upon the success mindset. So that was module 1, and we talked about what you're grateful for, making a daily practice of looking at gratitude, at least one thing, something that you've learned from your either career or job experience, and then an appreciation that you can share with somebody else or yourself. So those are the 3 takeaways from module 1. And now we're going to enter into module 2, which is called Taking Responsibility. There is a lot in my book about this, and I feel this is a really interesting and important topic. I'm just going to share a little bit with you about taking responsibility and why, and then we're going to look at action items and how to really do this, like how to get on the field and start taking responsibility in your life in a way that's going to have you feel empowered, more energy, and not feeling crappy about yourself. I think a lot of times we as human beings often don't want to take responsibility because it doesn't feel good. We end up not thinking we're going to not look good, or there's a concern that it's going to be a negative thing about us, or we might feel like it really isn't our fault, so to speak. This might be radical. You, again, take what you like, leave the rest. But I'm a big believer that everything in my life, 100% of everything in my life, is my responsibility, and that I'm responsible for the thoughts that I choose to go with, the actions that I then create from those thoughts, and then the results, right? So a great way to start noticing if things are working or not and what you can shift is to look at your results, right? So taking on this frame of mind that you are responsible for everything in your life is a very empowering one. It's one that often isn't as, I would say, popular. I would say in general in our society, people tend to get into this victim place, right? Oh, well, she did it. Well, that happened because of her, or because he didn't show up on time, I'm lacking here. I don't have the information I need. So you probably can imagine there's a lot of times you're going to hear maybe yourself and you're going to hear others make comments in the workplace, in business, in life, blaming other people. We don't even realize it. I mean, I do it sometimes, and I have to pause and say, okay, that right there is just put me in the victim mode. I actually coined the term Victimerica. I think that sometimes we can, if you're in America or if you're, let's say, somewhere else, wherever you are, I think that that's a standard thing for many human beings, is to get in this place of victimhood. And it's way more powerful to get into a space of taking responsibility and ownership, of being responsible for what you say and what you do and how life is going. So what it does mean is that oftentimes we have to stop and pause and look at our results, look at what's happening in our life, take stock, take inventory, right? And then sometimes that can be upsetting. I know for me, when I did this, again, I had a great job and I was so grateful. However, it did not feel like it was really lighting my soul on fire. And I had to look at some of the things about the job that I didn't love and some of the aspects about it, and I had to take inventory. And then I had to look at what was my part in that. How had I contributed to some of the frustrations that I had? And what I realized was that in every single area, I had a part in creating anything that I didn't love or that had a result that I didn't love. I had a part in it, no doubt. And it was really eye-opening. I remember this, there was a piece of what I used to have to do that, I don't know if you've been in this role, where it did not play towards my strength, right? I am not the best with detailed spreadsheets and tracking. I actually share a funny story in the book about this. And, here I am, I keep failing at entering in data and getting the spreadsheet up to date in the right way. And I'm not the best at systems. And I realized I'm spending a lot of time in an area that I'm not as strong at. So there were a couple things to look at. Number one, taking responsibility, that is still part of my job. So I had a choice. I could own it, create a new mindset, learn how to do it, stop complaining, or I could look for a new job or create a new job. And so I actually did a hybrid. I decided, I said, you know what? It may not be a strength of mine, but I'm still in this role and I'm going to figure out and I'm going to learn how to do that. And I'm going to make it a goal to see it as a positive. And so it still is not my favorite thing to do today. Anyone who's worked with me knows that. However, it was a really great skill that I learned. And then once I took it on, stopped blaming everyone else that I had to work with that asked me for all this data and information that I didn't like to do. Once I took it on how to do this, I learned and I created a positive framework, a mindset around it. It was something that became less heavy and gave me more peace, and I felt less stress around it. And so taking responsibility means looking to see right now, we're going to do an exercise. Okay, it's looking to see what you're doing, what your results are, and take an inventory, right? And look and see, okay, what is it that I love about my job or my work, and what are the areas that I don't love? What is not going as well? And the areas that are going well, make sure that you take responsibility and take credit for that. You created that aspect, those things that are going well. Then also go down to the other column, things that are not working as well, that are not in your strength zone, and look and see what is your part in there. How can I thrive here? How can I learn to be more successful here? Or do I need to leave and do something different? This is a really, really powerful way to not only take responsibility, but to be proactive and to start moving through any part of your career that is zapping energy or not having you feel that you are thriving. And I will share with you in all honesty and very vulnerably that I realized after about 2 years of realizing I could change my mindset, and I would look at this almost every day, right? I told you in the last module how I looked at gratitude and what I learned and appreciation, but I also started to look at the areas I loved and I didn't love as much and what my part was. And I realized it was really, really telling. I started to see that the things that were part of my job that really were not playing to my strengths or didn't light me up, those were not going to change. And that was not anybody's fault. That was part of the role. That was what they needed. And it was good information for me because when I was ready, I took that information and I decided to start my own business. I started to go the entrepreneurial route. For me, that was the right move. Had I not looked and taken responsibility and looked to see what my part was and what I could learn, I might have felt not ready. I might have felt insecure about doing that. I might have felt like I could have given it more. So what I'm saying is wherever you are, whether you're in a business, in a company, an employee, just starting out, wanting to start your own business, in your own business, my recommendation, my invitation, what really, really was most powerful for me was to start looking at all of the results, all of my results, all of the results that were around me in my position and my work as my responsibility. And I'll tell you a little secret is if you can do this in all areas of your life, it will shift your life forever. It's a game changer. So for me, right, I have kids, I am remarried, life happens. There are many times where I might get frustrated if, my child doesn't respond in the way I think they should, or does something I don't love, or my husband, who's a sweetheart, still doesn't do something exactly the way I want him to. And there have been times where I've gotten into this, well, you did this to me, or, putting it on them. And the truth is that it's my job to look at it differently. It's my job to see what my part of my role was in that situation. So if there's I'll give you an example. If you, let's say, have an interaction with somebody you're working with and you just feel like that person, he is always out to get you, and he doesn't listen to you and doesn't respect you and seems like he finds you annoying and brushes you off, you might want to look at, and maybe there's not much you can do, but you might want to look at how have you been being around him and other people. And so something you could do is maybe ask that person to get coffee or lunch, or to do a working lunch meeting together, do a walking meeting. It's a great way to get outside. But look and see, what can I do? What can I do to improve that situation? And then if it doesn't change after that, that's okay. That may not change, that person may not change, and that's okay. At least so you've taken responsibility for what you can. So this is not about changing other people. It's not about changing other situations or people that we can't change. It's about changing ourselves. And that really, really important piece to that is being able to take responsibility. Here's the thing, taking responsibility at work and in life is a total game changer. That is the way to crush it in all areas, all areas. So let's do our takeaways, all right? You ready? Hope so, because here we go. All right, so giving ROI a try, right? The thing to remember, we have two things in module 2. We talked about taking responsibility and looking at your results. So what I want you to do is either in a journal or somewhere to write this down. You're gonna look at number 1, the results that have happened so far through your career and your life if you want to, that you are really proud of, that showcase you thriving, you being at your best. I wanna make sure that you really look at those results. That's important because we might come back to those. So number 1, the column in number 1 is gonna be results where I've thrived, that I can really acknowledge myself. Number 2 is a different area. We're gonna look at the results that leave you depleted, feeling less than, or where you're not using your strengths. So these are results that you're not as thrilled with. And it's really important that you do both of them. Like I said earlier, so crucial that no matter what, whenever you are looking at anything that you wanna change, where you wanna grow, that you be kind and compassionate to yourself. Right, so that you take that observer approach. Okay, that is gonna make a huge difference because when you get into judgment, that can affect your stress levels, that can affect how you feel about yourself, your energy, that can lead to all kinds of negative spiraling and not seeing the clear cut what's going on. We get clouded by our fears. So it's important to try to stay as curious and as much of an observer as possible. Okay, those are the takeaways. You're gonna look at your results, where you've thrived, where you haven't thrived. And then from there, that's gonna give you a sense of what you can shift in your life and where you can take responsibility and make change. So grateful and honored to have you in module 2. I hope this has added value to you. We still have one more module, so I will see you in module 3, and I hope that you continue to crush it.